There's a moment people rarely talk about honestly. It's not when things are falling apart, and it's not when you're clearly struggling. It's when things are actually going well. You're making progress. You're being trusted with more responsibility. You're operating at a higher level than before. And instead of feeling grounded, you feel unsettled. You start questioning yourself, wondering whether you really belong here, whether someone's going to realize you're not as capable as they think. Most people call this imposter syndrome. And while that label is common, I don't think it explains what's actually happening. Notice when this experience tends to appear. Not early on, when you're learning, not when you're clearly out of your depth, but when you're already performing. That timing matters because it tells us this isn't about incompetence. It's about self-recognition lagging behind reality. Here's the key distinction. Your external role can change overnight. New expectations, new visibility, new standards. But your internal identity, the story of who you are and where you belong, updates more slowly. And when those two fall out of sync, discomfort appears. Not because you're faking anything, but because your nervous system is still orienting to a new version of normal. Think about what happens when your life quietly expands. You're no longer just trying. You're being seen. You're no longer preparing. You're representing. You're no longer practicing at the edges. You're operating in the open. That shift alone is enough to destabilize someone who is otherwise fully capable. This is why the term imposter syndrome is misleading. It frames the experience as a flaw, as if you're pretending or deceiving, but in most cases, there's no deception at all. What's happening is simpler and more human. Your sense of self hasn't fully caught up to the life you're now living. That's not a syndrome, it's a lag. I call this identity lag. Not as a diagnosis, not as a label, just as a way of naming a common transition point. It's what happens when growth outpaces familiarity, when the outside changes faster than the inside can integrate. Here's where the practical orientation comes in. If this experience is showing up for you, don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" Ask a more precise question. Where exactly does the discomfort appear? Is it when you're visible? When you're evaluated? When others assume you're confident and settled? Or is it when you're alone, when you realize this level is no longer hypothetical? That location matters because it tells you which part of your identity hasn't normalized this level yet. This is also why reassurance doesn't help. Telling yourself, "I deserve this," rarely resolves the feeling because the issue isn't belief, it's familiarity. Belonging doesn't arrive as a thought. It arrives as a settled internal state, and that state has to be learned through exposure, not forced through logic. So when this feeling shows up, it's not a signal to pull back, and it's not a signal to push harder. It's a signal to orient, to recognize that you're in an integration phase, not a failure state. And how you interpret that moment will determine whether growth stabilizes or stays uncomfortable. If this reframing helped you see what might actually be driving that self-doubt, there's a free mind control assessment designed to help you explore this more personally. It looks at inner alignment, habits, and subconscious patterns that influence how you experience progress and pressure. And if you want to engage this work experientially, not by fixing or forcing anything, the Subconscious Academy app includes a free subconscious starter kit with a guided hypnosis experience. It's a way to settle your internal environment first, so clarity and belonging can emerge naturally. No hype, no pressure, just orientation. You can explore it if and when it feels relevant for you. Remember, breakthroughs begin within. Bye for now.